Good afternoon, class. My name is Dylan Bacon. In our society today, we have a huge question. Do students in U.S. public schools have limitations on their First Amendment rights?
With this Fox News alert on a small town story now getting national attention. We're getting reports from California that extra police have now been called out to a school where 4 students were disciplined this week for wearing American flag t-shirts on Cinco de Mayo. This is just breaking, these new developments. An assistant principal at Live Oak High School in Morgan Hill told...
As you can see from the video, students do have limitations on their First Amendment rights in U.S. public schools. This is why I had to examine the question, how are the limitations of students' rights in illustration of the First Amendment in U.S. public schools? Through further research, I was able to tell within public schools, students had many limitations within their First Amendment rights, specifically their freedom of speech and the freedom to press. After going through many sources and research, I was able to find a few reasons why. My first source was, of course, the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment. How is this related to the topic? It is a topic. The U.S. Constitution's First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech and or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a readdress of grievances. In simple terms, it basically means we have the freedom of speech, religion, press, and the right to petition, the right to peacefully protest. To continue, the next source I used was Hazelwood School District versus Kuhlmeyer. Kuhlmeyer was in the Journalism 2 class at Hazelwood High School. He decided to make a newspaper article about pregnancies within the students, and he interviewed certain students about how they interacted with, how they felt about it, and divorce amongst parents. The principal, Robert Eugene Reynolds, heard about the article and decided to read it. He did not like that it gave students a negative connotation about how they felt. Kuhlmeyer was not happy with this decision, so he took the case to court, and he ruled that the court ruled that the school board did not violate his First Amendment rights because it was part of the school's curriculum. If we're not allowed to express ourselves freely at school, do we have any rights at all at school? To continue, public college students. At a small university in California called Governor State University, the newspaper crew decided to make an article about abortions, detailing how they felt about it, how it's affecting the world today. The dean caught word of it, and he did not like it at all. He thought it'd give them a negative connotation on the school, and not many people would apply to the school anymore. And then the paper was never printed. My next source was social networking in schools. Social media is very important in schools today. Many students are always on social media using Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. But now you can be disciplined for what you say on those social media websites. For example, if I said I didn't like Mr. Beard at all, I want him to die, I could be disciplined for that, even though I never want that to happen to this beautiful man. But I could be disciplined because I'm being violent and threatening threatening teachers. This means you do not have the freedom on your own phone, at your home, and on your phone. Do whatever you like. And then some people might say that we have the same rights as we do outside school due to time, place, and manner restrictions. This basically says you do have restrictions on your freedom of speech due to time, where you're saying it, place, where are you saying it, so if you're saying it in a public area or a non-public area, or in how you say it, like your manner. But you do have time, place, and manner restrictions in your house and at school property, but you do have to. But in the previous sources I've showed, you do not have the right. They did not have to do with time, place, or manner restrictions at all. They did not affect the time or the place or manner where they were taken care of. To conclude, to restate my claim, within public schools, students have many limitations with their First Amendment rights, specifically their freedom of speech and press. This has a huge effect not only in public schools but the country, because not many people believe that Not one person in the country is truly free. Thank you for listening to my presentation. You guys have any questions?
Two questions for you. First one,
Yeah.
how valid and reliable are the sources you use, and how do you know?
Most of my sources are reliable because most of them are academic journals. An example would be my Hazelwood versus Kuhlmeyer case. That was an academic journal. And then for example, my U.S. Constitution and the time, place, manner restrictions article you provided.
All right, and what advice would you have for other researchers when they consider this topic?
To see both sides of the topic, to see why people would want to limit restrictions on U.S. public schools and why they shouldn't.
All right, thank you.